Hey everyone, have you ever worked with an AI tool and it just feels like a magic black box? Yeah, you're not alone. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a really important part of LangChain, the LangChain Expression Language, or LCEL for short. We are ditching the magic, we're going to look right under the hood, and give you the control you actually need to build some amazing stuff.
I mean, it's a super common feeling, right? You hook up a couple of things and poof, an answer just appears. But what happens when it breaks or when the output is just kind of weird? That feeling, that frustration is exactly why we're doing this. We're going to replace that mysterious black box with something you can actually see, something you can control.
Okay, let's just dive right in. The whole idea here is simple. No more magic. Seriously. We're going to stop thinking about our AI pipeline as some kind of, a mysterious spell and start seeing it for what it really is. It's just a simple, logical flow. Plain old Python data moving from one step to the next. And you know what? That little shift in how you think about it, that's the key to building stuff that actually works. So why do we care about this so much? Well, for a couple of big reasons. First, it's all about building pipelines that you can actually rely on, things that are repeatable. But maybe even more important, it helps us steer clear of these things called opaque executors. Now, what are those? Just think of them as black boxes inside of your main black box. They're these parts of a framework that do a ton of work for you, which sounds great, but you have zero clue how they're doing it. By keeping things simple, with data just flowing, we stay in the driver's seat. And that control, man, that's everything when you need to fix something or build an app you can really count on. Okay, so what's the secret sauce here? What's the tool that lets us do all this? Well, it's the LangChain Expression Language Pipe, or LCEL. And really, the best way to think about it is like a super simple, super readable assembly line, just for your data. And what's so great about this is just how simple it is. The whole thing, the entire pipeline, it just breaks down into three main parts. First up, you've got the prompt. This guy takes your input, let's say a question from a user, and it wraps it up in a template to give the AI some context. Super important. Step two, that prompt gets sent over to the model. This is the AI, the brain of the operation, and it generates the response. And finally, you have the parser. The parser's job is to take that raw text from the model and just clean it up, tidy it up into a nice clean string that you can actually use. See? Prompt, model, parser. It's just a simple, logical flow. Beautiful. Okay, but if you've ever actually tried to build this, you might have run into a little problem. It seems like these three pieces should just snap together, like Legos, right? But there's this one tiny, little, but absolutely critical detail that makes the whole thing tick. So here's the deal. Here's the snag. The prompt component in LangChain, it doesn't just spit out a simple string. It actually creates these special message objects. The problem is, the AI model, in this case we're talking about the OpenAI model, it's not looking for those objects. Nope, it's expecting a list of plain old Python dictionaries. So you've got this little mismatch, right? How do you connect the two? And this is where that no magic idea really shines. The answer isn't some super complicated hidden thing inside LangChain. It's just a tiny little adapter. That's it. A simple function that we pop right into the pipe, and all it does is convert those message objects into the dictionaries that the model wants. It's such a small piece, but it's literally the glue that makes the whole pipeline stick together. Okay, that's enough theory for now. Let's get practical. How do you actually run this thing? And maybe even more important, how do you figure out what the heck is going on when it, doesn't do what you want it to do? So you've built this awesome, elegant pipe. How do you kick it off? It couldn't be simpler. You just use the invoke function. You call that, and you pass in your input, like say the topic you want a blog post about, as a normal Python dictionary. And that one little command, it sets the whole chain in motion. Done. And here is the absolute best part. Because this pipe isn't a black box, because it's transparent, debugging becomes so much easier. So let's say your final output is just weird. Don't just sit there and guess what went wrong. You can literally just print out the result from the prompt step, see what the model actually saw. Or you could print the raw text from the model before the parser gets to it. You can look at every single step of the process. It's a game changer. All right, so we've got a pipe that's easy to run, easy to debug. That's a huge step forward. But how do we take this from just a cool little experiment and turn it into something solid, something robust enough for real application? How do we make sure it's not just working, but that it's consistent and reliable every time? So here are 3 golden rules to make your pipes production ready. Rule number 1, lower the model's temperature. Now, you can think of temperature as like a creativity dial. The higher it is, the more wild and random the output.
If you turn it down, the AI's responses become way more predictable, which is exactly what you want for consistency. Okay, rule 2. If you need your data in a specific structure, like for a database, you need to tell the model explicitly to respond only in a format like JSON. Be strict about it. And finally, and this might be the most important rule of all, always, always validate the output. Never just blindly trust what the language model gives you. Check it.
All right, you've seen the theory, you've heard the best practices, now it's your turn. It's time to get your hands dirty with the actual code and really make this stuff your own.
So here's your mission, should you choose to accept it. Go find the file 03_simplepipe.py. Just run it. See how it all fits together in the real world. Then, for a little extra credit, try changing the prompt. Force it to give you a JSON-only response. And then, in your code, add a little validation with json.loads to make sure it actually gave you what you asked for. This is going to make everything we just talked about click. So there you have it. We've pulled back the curtain, the magic is gone, and what's left are simple, understandable building blocks. You now have the fundamentals to create AI pipelines that are transparent, that are reliable, and that you can actually debug when things go wrong. So the only real question left is, now what are you going to build?